I, Nnamdi Azikiwe, swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federation and the law, and that I will devote myself to the service and well-being of the people of Nigeria. So help me God. Thank you very much.
Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development of Nigeria and the world. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, born November 16, 1904, would have been 119 years old today or this year. He is one of the founding fathers of Nigeria. And I'm doing this video to correct the fallacy that have been gaining ground for a long time that Zik was a ceremonial president. I want to correct that impression, and so that people should stop that fallacy of saying that Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the first president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, was a ceremonial president. He was not a ceremonial president. He was a president and not a ceremonial president. And his powers were well articulated, well cleared, made clear in the 1963 Constitution, under which he emerged as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And one thing you should also, first of all, take note of is that Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe is described as GCFR. He was the first GCFR in Nigeria's history. Today, Obasanjo, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, is GCFR. Former President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua is GCFR. Former President Yar'Adua is GCFR. Former President Jonathan, GCFR. Former President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Right now, Aswani Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. And you are telling me that he was a ceremonial president. Do you know what GCFR means? Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. It is an exclusive honor that are awarded only to presidents and former heads of states or former heads of the like military heads of state, people like General Sani Abacha, General Ibrahim Babangida, including General Absalami Abubakar. And people are selling false narrative. This video is basically to correct that wrong notion that had gotten grounds so much that people pass it around as if they were truth or based on facts. Now, that is just the first part of what I want to show you, so that you know that it is a lie from the pit of hell that Zeke was a ceremonial president. He was not a ceremonial president. And you are going to see it when I begin to show you what the Constitution of 1963 carried, the position of the president in 1963 Constitution, so that you know the powers that were conferred on Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe when he emerged as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, if you go to 1963 Constitution, Chapter 4, the President of the Republic, which talks about the establishment of office of President, Section 34(1) said, "There shall be a President of the Republic who shall be elected to office in accordance with Section 35 of this Constitution, and shall be the head of the Federation and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation." I want it to sink in to you who are being deceived that Zeke was a ceremonial president, so that you get this clarity. You can go and fast check what I'm telling you. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1963. Go and read it. Okay? If you are in doubt of what I'm telling you in this channel. Let me repeat this chapter 4 again. Chapter 4, the President of the Republic, establishment of office of President. Section 34(1) say, "There shall be a President of the Republic who shall be elected to office in accordance with Section 35 of this Constitution, and shall be the head of states of the Federation and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation." So the office that Zeke held was no different from what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is holding now, because Bola Ahmed Tinubu is having the honor of being the head of state and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation. So let that sink in, and let that clarity be made for those who pass the falsehood that Zeke was not a president, but a ceremonial president. And we will go deeper to look at his responsibilities. Now, anybody who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, it means that the service chiefs reports to Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe the same way they report to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu today. The same way they had reported to Muhammadu Buhari a few months ago. The same way they had reported to Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. The same way they reported to Yaradua. That is the way it is. So let nobody deceive anybody that Zeke was not a president in the real sense of the word, that he was a ceremonial president who is just for ceremonial purpose. It's not true. Now, the Constitution also said that a person shall be eligible for election as president if he's a citizen of Nigeria who has attained the age of 40 years, that's the 1963 Constitution. He is not disqualified by virtue of paragraph A to D or F of subsection 1, subsection 2, or subsection 45 of the Constitution for election as a member of the House of Representatives. He said the president shall be elected by secret ballot at a joint meeting of both the houses of parliament held for the purpose of electing the president, hereinafter in this section referred to as election meeting, and each member of parliament shall be entitled to a single vote in each ballot for the election of the president, taking such a meeting hereinafter in this section referred to as presidential ballot. Now the Constitution, that 1963 Constitution in section 36(1) said that a person shall hold office as president for the period of 5 years, beginning from the day on which he is elected as the president, or where he or another person holds office as the president on the day, beginning with the day following the date on which that office next becomes vacant. Now, you can see that Zik as president was democratically elected. You can see the Constitution had a process for him to be elected, and that process was followed when he was elected the president of Nigeria in 1963, and he was elected for 5 years. Unfortunately, his administration was cut short by the military coup of 1966. Now, let us look at the power of the president. That's the power of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe as enshrined in the 1963 Constitution. Now, Part 3 of the Constitution has to do with the summoning, prorogation, and dissolution of Parliament. Now, Section 68(1) of that Part 3 said that the president, now this place I'm reading to you will show you that the president has the power to proclaim the parliament and also dissolve the parliament. The same way that you see the National Assembly in the 1999 Constitution that we're using today. It is Buhari that used to declare the parliament, the National Assembly open. The same way that is Aswad Bola Ahmed Tinubu that declared this 10th National Assembly open. That was the same power that Zik wielded when he was the president of Nigeria. So you are going to see that he had the power to inaugurate and dissolve the parliament, just the same way that Buhari and Tinubu now and all the other presidents under the 1999 Constitution had the power to proclaim open, declare open. But this one, Zik even wielded more power because Zik had also the power to dissolve. Of course, it's something that is applicable to the president. So they have the power to proclaim the National Assembly open. The same power that state governors are holding, unless they declare the session of National Assembly or State Assembly open, it cannot be considered to have been opened. Okay, so that power, Zik wielded it in 1963 because he was conferred with that power based on 1963 Constitution. Now this part I'm going to read to you, section 68(1) said that the president may at any time prorogue or dissolve parliament. At any time prorogue or dissolve parliament. Can somebody who is a ceremonial president be given this kind of enormous power to dissolve parliament? Section 2 of that said that subject to the provisions of subsection 3 of this section, Parliament, unless sooner dissolved, shall continue for 5 years from the date of its first sitting after any dissolution, and shall then stand dissolved. Section 4 of it said, in the exercise of his powers to dissolve the parliament, that the Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe's power to dissolve the parliament, the president shall act in accordance with the advice of the prime minister. However, that if the prime minister recommends a dissolution in a case not falling within subsection 5 of this section, and the president consider that the government of the federation can be carried on without a dissolution, and that a dissolution will not be in the interest of the federation, he may refuse to dissolve the parliament. Now, this section is talking about the fact that the president can dissolve the parliament based on the advice of the prime minister. But the same constitution is saying, if the president, after the prime minister advised him, he felt that the advice of the prime minister doesn't hold water, that there is still a need to continue to have that parliament, he will not take the advice of the prime minister. Does that sound to you somebody who is a ceremonial president? Does that show you that he is a ceremonial president? That shows you a man who is in charge of his office, empowered by the Constitution. Now, the Constitution went on to say in section 5, he said, the president shall dissolve parliament if the House of Representatives passes a resolution that it has no confidence in the government of the federation, and within the period of 3 days, beginning with the day on which the resolution is passed, the prime minister does not resign or recommend a dissolution, or does recommend a resolution. Are you seeing it? Does that sound to you a leader who is on a ceremonial position? He's not in a ceremonial position. He was put in charge. The only thing you can say is that, unlike now that the president is literally running the country, has so much powers, because we understand now that the president of Nigeria is probably the most powerful president in the world. Okay? But the fact remains that Zik was not a ceremonial president. He operated under the law, and the law gave him his responsibilities. And these responsibilities is far more powerful than the office of the prime minister. And you get to know that as we go on in this journey of discovery of the fact that Zik was not a ceremonial president. He was indeed a president who wielded the powers of his office. Now, look also where the president also wield power even in respect of the prime minister. According to section C of this part of the Constitution, he said, if the office of prime minister is vacant and the president considers that there is no prospect of his being able within a reasonable time to appoint to that office a person who can command the support of the majority of the members of the House of Representatives. Now, the president has a right to declare the office of the prime minister vacant. If there's any need for the office of the prime minister to be declared vacant, he has the power to do that, especially if he has nobody that he can appoint in place of the prime minister. That's not a man who is holding a position that is ceremonial. Now let us look at chapter 6 of the 1963 Constitution. which stipulates the executive powers, Here it talks about exercise of executive authority of the Federation. Section 84.1. The executive authority, listen to this very carefully. The executive authority of the Federation shall be vested in the President, and subject to the provisions of this Constitution, may be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him. No, let's get this again. For those who are the doubting Thomases about the fact that Azikiwe was not a ceremonial president. Section 84.1 under chapter 6 that contains the executive powers in the executive arm of government. And it has to do with the exercise of executive authority of the Federation. 84.1. The executive authority of the Federation shall be vested. Look at the word shall. You can know that shall is not maybe. In law, whether you are a lawyer or not, if you are conversant with realities of our Nigerian legal system, you know that when the Constitution says a shall, it means it's a must. It is not conditional. It is not maybe. Chapter 6 that contains the powers or the executive powers in the 1963 Constitution talks about the exercise of the executive authority of the Federation. And section 84.1 of that section, of that chapter, 84.1, said that the executive authority of the Federation shall be vested in the President and subject to the provisions of this Constitution, may be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him. So the President is the one that exercises executive authority in the executive arm of government. It's a power that he can also transfer to subordinates to run it on his behalf. Does that sound to you a president who is ceremonial president? Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was not a ceremonial president. He was a president that operated under the Constitution, and he had executive powers to exercise his authority as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, there's another section in the same chapter 6. Let us look at the extent of executive authority of the Federation. Extent. That's to look at the extent of the power that Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe wielded or was given the power to wield in the 1963 Constitution. Now, under it, Section 85. Section 85 of the 1963 Constitution. It stated that the executive authority of the Federation shall extend to the execution and maintenance of this Constitution and to all matters with respect to which Parliament has, for the time being, power to make laws. This section of the Constitution, 1963 Constitution, is saying that the executive authority of the Federation shall be extended to the execution and maintenance of this Constitution. So it is the responsibility of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe to ensure that the Constitution of Nigeria is maintained. The Constitution is vested under his authority. To protect the Constitution is under his authority. Now, let us look at the ministers of government of the Federation so that you see the power that Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe wielded under it, which was conferred on him by the 1963 Constitution that brought him to power. This section has to do with ministers of government of federation. Section 87(1). There shall be a prime minister who shall be appointed by the president. Did you get that clear? This section 87(1) of the 1963 Constitution said that there shall be a prime minister who shall be appointed by the president. There shall be a prime minister who shall be appointed by the president. It means that the president is higher in ranking than the prime minister. The prime minister, why he is called the prime minister, he is the head among equals. The ministers were selected from members of parliament, those who were elected as House of Representative members. So the prime minister is not as powerful as the president. The president is more powerful and recognized as such in the Constitution. Those who think that Zik was a fool by agreeing to be the president instead of the prime minister miss the point. They have not studied this Constitution to see the powers that was conferred on him. The powers that was conferred on him by this Constitution. Because there are some people who are spreading negativities about Zik, that why didn't he become prime minister? So that that's why he would have had more. Which impact did Tafawa Balewa have in Nigeria? What did he do that is different from what the whole government? Because the Tafawa Balewa government and Zik government, they are one and the same government. But Zik was on top by the power conferred on him by the Constitution of the 1963 that brought them to power. So this section 87(1) said that there shall be a prime minister who shall be appointed by the president. So the prime minister is appointed by the president. He is among members of the parliament. Basic, you can see, go and study, listen again and read and how what the Constitution says, how Zik will be elected. That's the president will be elected. Okay. So you find out that he is higher in ranking. And of course, that's why he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And Tafawa Balewa was not. Now, section 87(1), we have just looked at it, that there shall be a prime minister who shall be appointed by the president. 87(2) said that whenever the president has occasion to appoint a prime minister, he shall appoint a member of the House of Representatives who appears to him likely to command the support of the majority of the members of the House. 3. There shall be, in addition to the office of the Prime Minister, such other offices of Minister of the Government of the Federation as may be established by Parliament or subject to the provisions of an act of the Parliament by the President, acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister. Now, this section is also telling you that even the President will appoint, it is Zik that will appoint the ministers of the government under the Prime Minister. The only thing is that the Prime Minister will recommend those to be appointed. That's will advise on those to be appointed, and the president will have to approve it. Now, section 4, subsection 4, said that appointment to the office of the minister of the government of the federation, other than the office of the prime minister, shall be made by the president. Get that clear again. This one, section, subsection 4, give more clarity. He said, appointments to the office of the minister of the government of the federation, other than the office of the Prime Minister, all other offices beside the Prime Minister's office shall be made. I want you to take note of that this is a three constitution that is emphasizing on shall. It's emphasizing on shall be made by the president, acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. We are going to continue this series to show you why Zik was not a ceremonial president, but a president indeed, in every sense of the word. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.